Hey guys, welcome to our Married at First Sight after show. Today we're talking episode 5, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Who deserves a gentleman? Tell me, why are we wasting time on all your wasted time when you should be with me?
So sea-like, so honeymoon-like.
Another great episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our Married at First Sight after show. We can't wait to talk about episode 5. Be sure to download, rate, and subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and leave us a comment below because we love to hear what you think. You can find me at Jamie Banks, and my name is Jamie Banks. And where can they find you guys?
I'm Heather. You can find me on Twitter at Heather Yerrid.
I'm Allie. You can find me on Twitter at AllieGirl__.
Great. So what were your overall impressions of this episode?
I'm obsessed with Sonic. I literally, I can't hold it in any longer.
Yes.
I am obsessed with them. They are my favorite part of this entire show right now. I mean, I love everybody else, but they just literally, whenever I'm watching them, I just can't help but smile. They bring me so much
cute.
joy.
I know.
I can't wait to talk more.
Definitely.
Great episode. Lots to talk about. Lots of activities. The adrenaline gets couples, aroused and excited and actually wanting to be around each other. So was happy to see a lot of activity today.
Definitely. And if you guys are watching live, please join us in the live chat because we might read your comment. So we start out, they wake up after honeymoon part 2, and it's a great morning, especially for Tom and Lillian. They look so cozy and romantic. They love each other already, I think.
I think so. I mean, they're showing a lot of attention towards each other, and they just from the beginning, I thought maybe it'll die out. It hasn't. It's only gotten stronger, which makes me more excited to just watch them grow.
Yes, definitely. I always wonder though, with the whole diary cam, would that not be uncomfortable? I said this the last time. If I had a camera in my face in the morning being like, well, first of all, I love that Tom goes, hello. Like, I'm like, did you actually say hello? Because I say yeller, It's like, what just happened there? But I would be uncomfortable in the morning having a diary cam in front of my face.
I think that they're just so excited, though, to be on this process that it's something that they're willing and accepting to do. And so I think it's just kind of, along with this experience, it's something that they knew they were going to have to do and are excited to do it. Because not only do they have this for the show, but they get to have that as something like, oh my gosh, or they can pull that out when they are maybe 15 years married, let's hope, And they're like, remember when we didn't even know each other, we were on our honeymoon and we did those diary cams? So I'm sure it's something that they'll have fun to look forward to in the future.
True. It is a really great keepsake.
Yeah.
Nick and Sonia were so cute that morning. I mean, they're really on the same page.
Fake sleepers. Fake sleepers. Fake sleepers. As soon, acting, maybe not your strong suit, but I don't know about you guys. Did you think that was a staged wake up?
I think it was, because Sonia kind of had a little smirk on her face and she was like but it was really cute. I mean, I still loving the Sonic, loving you guys. You guys haven't, and you guys have impressed me so much, and I'm obsessed with you. I think you're the cutest couple. But going back to them waking up and just really enjoying the honeymoon so far, I don't have anything to say more. I can't just, the only thing I can say is I'm obsessed because they're so great together. They complement each other so perfectly. It's amazing.
I'm still shocked though that Tom wakes up in the morning, right? Going to Tom and Lillian, and the first thing we hear out of his mouth again is the bus.
Oh yeah.
He's still thinking about the bus. He wakes up, he has dinner, he goes to sleep, he makes out with her, humping each other in the hot tub. The bus.
It's definitely on his mind. I think it would be good for him to get it off his chest and talk about it because it's clearly bothering him even in his sleep. So unless that was just the editing as far as their interviews, it really does seem like he needs to get it off his chest.
Which we will soon find out. I mean, honeymoons are over, so that's jumping forward though. So
I have a spoiler, but we'll talk about it later. Yeah. Spoiler alert. But speaking of Tom getting it off his chest, right? The conversation with him and Pastor Calvin.
That was great. I really am so happy that. I mean, it's kind of strange, though, because you see someone that you think is so confident and he's so self-assured and he seems that way the way he treats Lillian. You can see he's a confident man. And then to see that this is the one thing that he's really seeming to be insecure about, because he keeps bringing it up, like you said, and the way that he talked to Pastor Cal about it. I mean, I'm really glad that he got it off of his chest because I feel like the rest of the episode he wasn't so, only focused on that.
Yeah, Pastor Calvin gave him great advice. Don't apologize for who you are. You're confident, you're successful, be you. She will accept you. She will like your flexibility. I like how he kind of threw that volley in there. Like, he'll like your flexibility, almost planting a seed. Tom, you're going to be flexible, right?
Yeah.
Instead of Tom saying that himself. But it was good. And by the way, Tom, blue, great color.
Yeah, I think Tom is very insecure about this one issue because it seems like this is an issue that has broken him up in past relationships,
Yeah.
or at least maybe something he looks back on as a weakness in his relationships. So I think he's very worried about it.
Yeah, definitely. To piggyback off that, I think a lot of Tom's worth in his own mind also is associated with finances. That seems to be a reoccurring theme. He's questioning Lily about it. They've talked about it a couple times, and the fact that he's chosen to be in the bus. If he attaches his worth to finances, then it's only going to drive a wedge between them. So hopefully not.
Yeah, I think that, or he just really likes this minimalist perspective. And so he's scared that she's not going to agree with this because she does have some nicer things, as he says. So I think he just feels like they're going to butt heads about this in the future. Yeah, so Heather and Derek wake up, and I think it's actually kind of a positive breakfast. I think that they're nice to each other, they're cordial, and it seems like they really want to make the day great and are looking at it from a fresh perspective.
So I don't remember their wake up in the beginning of the show, just to be honest.
Well, Derek says that they're kind of fake nice at breakfast, but then we go to Heather, and she seems like she's enjoying
yes.
it and that they're nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Please.
she was brushing it off, and that was
Yes.
great. But I feel like they just are playing this game of volleyball. It's like back and forth, and it's not fair to either of them. And at breakfast, you can tell Derek was holding a back a little bit because she's now open and he doesn't know how to feel. He's like, wait, should I be on the same level as her? Should I not? Like, oh wow, okay, I guess we are swiping this under the brush. So I think that it took him a little bit of time to understand that's what she was doing. And then when she did, the day started off really great.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the dreaded, the weather's really hot. Oh, yes, isn't it? That's when you're like, oh, God, the weather. It's like in a bad business meeting. You don't have anything else to talk about, so you talk about sports or you talk about weather. So as soon as they both were talking about the weather, I was like, oh, this day's doomed. This day is totally doomed.
I really like that Heather seemed like she had a really positive attitude about the day. I think she woke up thinking that it was a new day and that she really wanted to have positive aspects of the relationship that day. And so I think she really had a fresh attitude and wanted it to go well.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's very flip-floppy, like throughout this episode at least. And I'm not going to say it's editing because this is life, okay? This happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give her kudos in some regard, right? I agree. I think that she is trying. I do think that she's being a realist. But a part of me is almost like, did she get so much love from her mother and father who have been married for so long? And is she so close to her family that she cannot cultivate relationships outside of that? After breakfast, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I wonder if it's that she's so used to seeing love that she almost doesn't even know how to deal with confrontation or conflict. That's why she just keeps being like, okay, I'm fine, and then she switches. Did you ever think about that?
I didn't. I won't say that I did, but I will say I think this breakfast has shown, oddly, her most open side yet. So I feel like it's the most effort she's actually put into wanting to make it. And I was like, I had really high hopes for this date and for this day because she started off with like the most of what I've seen to be a positive attitude towards this situation. So I didn't really that's definitely thinking into it.
I was trying
you're like trying
to
make it. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that, and I think
Yeah.
that's a great point to think that
Yeah.
she's just trying so hard to make it like her parents.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because her parents seem to have a great relationship, but they're much farther into the relationship. So maybe at the beginning they might have had some issues, or at least, they're still getting to know each other. So you can't really think it's going to be a perfect honeymoon relationship when you're just starting.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think all of the couples have been kind of like dabbling back and forth with. Obviously, Tom and Lillian have had a little bit easier connection and they haven't had to worry about it too much, but it's patience. Is because you're trying so hard to not let this process like fast forward you, even though you're married. They're trying so hard not to let that make them think, okay, so I'm married, so I should be saying I love you already. I should be saying all that. So I think that they're all trying to remind themselves, even though we're married, we shouldn't jump ahead. We shouldn't go forward. We need to establish the foundations. They're doing a really good job at that, but when they do their confessionals, we can all see that they are all struggling with, okay, I'm trying to be as patient as I can. I'm trying to hold back because I need to take this slow.
So it's a great point. And we even see Nick holding back, like, when they start the activities. So we see Nick and we see Sonia, Sonic, dancing. Now, Nick will barely even put his hands on her hips. So talk about taking it slow. I think a lot of what you're saying is also applied to the fact that seasons 2 and season 3, none of the couples survived. We've only seen 2 couples survive. That's season 1.
Yeah,
so this is definitely manifesting. But I like that they're incorporating activities to open those gates. Okay, if we're not going to get so super close all of a sudden, let's do things together on these honeymoons.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because I think Nick actually is a good dancer. He was a good dancer at the wedding, but he's so shy about it. But I think he's kind of hesitant to touch her in that way because I think he really wants to establish the friendship first, and he doesn't want to make it too physical. And it's very nice. I feel like he's being very respectful of her, and they're really taking it at a slow, comfortable pace.
Okay, so speaking of slow and comfortable, I totally agree. I sat there and I was like, when am I going to meet a man that doesn't want to have sex with me immediately? Oh my God. So Sonia, again, took that a little personal. So I'm curious. I think both of you guys are in long-term relationships or have been, like, recently, except me. And so in saying that, I don't know if you have an opinion on this or not, but it's like, if the guy is not coming on to you, does that make you insecure? See, me, no. I'm thankful. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God he's not going to try to hook up with me yet. But I've heard some girls, like my girlfriends, are like, he didn't even try to hook up with me, didn't even try to kiss me. And I'm like,
For me, it's affection. So I think Sonia and I seem to be, we like the verbal reassertion. So I would want Nick to tell me that I'm beautiful and that he's attracted to me. So I think it's not really like, if it's like sexual or romantic, I think I just want to see that he's interested in some way and know that he finds me attractive. Otherwise, I'd feel insecure because I would be like, oh, does he like me? I don't know. He hasn't said anything. So I just want some reassurance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think this we see like a prime example when he is saying, she's like, I just want him to say, like, I want that reassurance. And I think that he's holding back, and that he even kind of stated that a little bit, and like, she needs that reassurance, but I don't think she needs it. I was like watching the episode and I'm like, Sonia, you're beautiful, you're great, you don't need to worry about any of that. And that's all I could think about, is because I feel like sometimes we put so much pressure on feeling certain ways towards someone, and just like Pastor Kelvin said, you only have to be yourself, and you only need to be yourself. And Sonia is a beautiful person, so I think that this, just like watching that kind of like resides with me. And I'm like, you know what, like, that's something that I think we can all learn from, is learning from, we shouldn't have to feel those pressures of anything. It's just a pure friendship.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it looks like we actually have Sarah Smith on the live
hey,
chat.
Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
How's it going?
Yes. She's got a really good point. She's saying, listen, she's overthinking. His silence doesn't mean he's plotting or that he's mad. And he says that. That's a great point, Sarah. He says that. He goes, I think if I'm not saying anything, then everyth's most likely all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many of us have done that?
I've done it. So
I've done it
that's
too.
like me and like people I've dated. That's for sure it. I will overthink. But
Yeah.
then I realized that it's exactly it. If he doesn't say there's something wrong, there's nothing wrong. It's in my head. So I think I just need to we all just need to
Relax. Take a deep
and
breath.
just look at the situation how it is and not overthink.
And enjoy the situation.
Speaking of overthinking,
Yes.
surfing, Derek, Heather.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That was
yes.
definitely okay. So first let's just set this up for everyone. It looked like they were having a great time surfing.
I thought
It looked
so.
like they were really connecting until Derek says that he feels upset because Heather holds the lifeguard's hand or the surfer instructor hand. Was this overreacting?
I mean, I know my perspective. I want to hear yours.
Okay, so I think to an extent it could be overreacting. But it kind of, in the way that he was describing it, I understand, because he's kind of like, well, she doesn't even want to touch my hand.
That's not what you said outside. So why don't you say what you said outside? Okay, how about that? How about that?
Oh, I didn't know we were talking about that yet.
The surfing.
I've been surfing before, and I've never had a surf instructor hold my hand to bring me out to the water. they'll pull like the tip of the board. At least my instructors that I've ever learned from, they've just like pulled the board, but they didn't necessarily
grab your hand and pull you.
Yeah, they didn't pull me. But I'm saying in this situation, I understand where he is coming from.
Sure.
But yes, I've had surf lessons before, and I've never had them pull my hand, but maybe.
Yes. So overreacting. I think that she felt comfortable holding the lifeguard's hand. I think she intentionally was not holding Derek's hand. I think that him not bringing up in the moment caused the explosion later, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I think in that moment, them surfing, to me, I did not think that was a good experience. So I disagree with both of you. If you watch them compared to Tom and Lily and compared to Sonic, right? Sonic, they're communicating, they're laughing.
Sonic.
I know, yeah, using that Sonic. They're communicating, they're laughing, they're in the camera together. Heather and Derek didn't even share the same experience. It was like they were at the opposite ends of the ocean.
Yeah.
So
True,
to
I
me,
guess-
I thought I did not think that was a great. And the fact that Heather was like, I had a great time with him.
Maybe I was listening to her interview, and so I was kind of just picking up from that. To me, I think Derek was overreacting. I didn't think it was that big of a deal that he held her hand. It seemed like he was just trying to help her. But I think he's being especially insecure because she hasn't shown that affection. And he even said that he really wants to hold her hand. So I think he was very jealous because this lifeguard is doing exactly what he wants to do with her that he hasn't gotten the chance to.
Yeah.
But to me, I would have been like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right. I personally, again,
So many different emotions now that we just talked about it, because it's like the more you do think about where they are in their relationship, right now in that scene. That is uncomfortable. If you are already feeling insecure with someone that you're supposed to be married to, and you're really excited for this date because the morning started out great, and then all of a sudden, like, she just jumps in, and I mean, obviously we haven't seen the whole thing. That's what's so hard, is that we weren't there, so we didn't know exactly what happened.
We saw enough.
But from what we saw, it looks like she just jumped in the ocean, and I was confused, I will say. Because they kept cutting back and forth, I couldn't tell. Obviously, the instructor had longer hair, but it was so quick that I was trying to figure out if it was Derek. Like, I was trying to figure it out.
Derek and her were at opposite ends of the ocean throughout that whole experience. So it wasn't Derek. It wasn't Derek. So to me, I'm going to stake my stand and stay on the fact that surfing looked fun, but obviously the communication is lacking. Because Heather was like, oh, we had a great time. And Derek clearly doesn't feel that way. So again, another question for you two, being in your relationships and so forth. So is that normal? When you are doing an activity with your significant other, do you guys like stop and say, hey babe, give each other a kiss in between, or be like, woo, high tens?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I think sometimes people bond by just doing the activity together. So maybe for them, that just being side by side doing it, that was bonding. So maybe they don't need to talk about it like, oh, this is great, but maybe they're just enjoying it together, doing it in such a great experience.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I thought about that. I tried to convince myself to that point, but it didn't work. What about you? Do you talk to your significant other when you're in like an activity like that, or no?
I mean, an activity like that, if it's surfing, I feel like I'd be so into it. I'd be like, this is so much fun. Like, I kind of get too much into the activity itself, and like, I'll be like screaming across the ocean, are you loving this right now? Like,
well, at least you'd be screaming.
Yeah.
At least you would be screaming and
Or
asking.
I would like get like tumbled by the ocean and be like, well, that was great.
I mean, it could have happened. We might not have seen it. They could have cut that part.
Yeah. But
Heather doesn't think so. Well, cut to Tom and Lillian ziplining. They definitely were enjoying each other's company and connecting. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think that was great. I think, again, excuse me, you see like Coach Rachel bring it up. When two people do an activity to get those, adrenaline, that chemical up in your head, it literally attracts you more to each other. But obviously they don't necessarily need it more because they're already connected. But I think that it was cute. It was fun. The fact that twice we see here, they almost complete each other's thoughts without knowing they're completing each other's thoughts. So I'm so glad I was paired with someone adventurous. I'm so glad I was paired with someone adventurous.
Very
it's
true.
just like our wedding. We dove right in. Oh, here we go. I was like, wow, they really are a match. I hope we see them together at the end.
I think we will. I do.
I think this whole like hump of the bus thing is they're going to get over it. I think it's going to be something, it's going to be shocking, of course. But he even said something, I don't mean to jump ahead, but he did mention something about how he's like, I could could compromise. I could move in with her. And that's something he was saying in the beginning. I don't know if I'll be able to. So the fact that you can already tell he's really into this, that he could possibly compromise. So I think that just them being on this adventure and journey together, I mean, they said that adventure is something that they really want in the other. And I think Lillian said something along the lines of, I need someone that's going to make me feel comfortable in situations that I don't necessarily feel comfortable in. It wasn't those words exactly, but along those lines. And that was great too, because it's like, she already feels safe. Even if she's not feeling super safe in that activity, he does that for her. That's amazing. And that's so awesome, especially for someone that you don't even know that well at this point in the game. And I just am so, I think, amazed and shocked by the questions they ask each other, and like how intimately they are talking and getting to know each other. And it's like intimate on a different level of just like communication and thought process. And I think it's so magical to just watch that unravel.
Yeah, I love the conversations, you know, speaking of kind of like being in that moment. I feel like Sonic, I feel like they do the opposite, but they do it just as well, meaning like they're creating that best friend relationship and they're competing with each other. Like they're like, oh, we have a bet going on of who can win this. I love seeing Sonia. Like, some women don't like to be in physical activity and like grunt in front of guys or actually try. She's like in it to win it.
I
like,
love
with
it.
The
they have
kite
such
surfing.
a cute banter. It's adorable.
Yeah, like kite surfing. She's literally like, oh my God, like falling off. And I was like, I love you guys.
I love it. And I think they're so cute. They're laughing at each other's skills and really just enjoying the moment together. And I think it was really great.
Yeah,
definitely.
It was very good. It was so good. It's just unfortunate, again, on the flip side, I guess it's good that we're seeing diversity, but seeing in the cave, right? Derek and Heather, their next activity, separation again.
Yeah.
I thought it was going really well at first. I think that they were very connected. They were taking cute selfies, and they really were opening up to each other, and they shared a really sweet moment. I think it just took a bad turn when Heather got up and left. And to me, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought it had already ended, the conversation. I didn't feel like they were still talking and she left and stormed off. I felt like it was just over at that point.
I kind of was confused because I didn't know like what had happened, because all of a sudden, like, I think in the scene they were sitting together and then they walked around and then she was like, he's like, let's jump the rocks. And then all of a sudden it cut to her so I was really confused as well. I didn't understand. So that's why, I mean, if I was confused watching, I could only imagine how he felt, because that was really strange, because all of a sudden she was like, she had no idea what she had done. So I think that it was defensive when she was like, oh, I was trying to help the other people. I don't think she had realized what she was doing. And so when he was like, yo, like, what's happening? And she was like, what do you mean? She got defensive because she didn't realize she was doing that.
Yes, I think that the fact that they had the let's play the Wii game, they related with the Wii game. Wee. And they had good Wiis. Like,
her
Wiis
were really good. Yeah. I was very proud of her. I thought she did awesome.
Yeah, and I think that after that, it's like her not waiting in the bikes. So she's not waiting for him. They're not sharing experiences together. So for her not to be like, babe, let's go. Like, I'm not married. I haven't been in a 5-year relationship. And I know well enough if I've been with someone for 2 weeks or for 6 months, I'd be like, babe, come on, help me up the stairs. Help me down the stairs. She's just not engaging. She's not into it. She's been checked out since day one.
So you think she should have said, okay, it's time to go now, or something like a transition, like, we're done?
Yes, I think she should have been like, let's roll.
Or like, hey, I think I'm going to go up there and see, like, look around a little bit more. Something to where it's not just like he looks, because obviously it's just so confusing, because I don't know what I feel like in my mind. I'm like, well, something had to have been said, because that's kind of strange to me. Because I would have said something. I would have been like, hey, I'm gonna go check out here. I don't know. It just kind of was a strange situation to really be in.
I think she's just really uncomfortable. Yeah. I think that she literally signed up for this, and she's like, oh my gosh, these mannerisms that I have are actually on camera now, and she's just starting to freak out. I really do. Because he is being so receptive. I mean, even with continuing to try, staying positive, saying the we, and kudos to him. He actually confronted her. Now that to me got interesting. When he called her out when they got at the top of the cave.
It was interesting to me. Oh, sorry, Allie.
No, go ahead.
It was interesting that he called her out. He brought up these issues. But then in the interview, he says that he's not attracted to her. Or maybe this is later, but I'm skipping ahead. But she says she's not that attracted to him. And he says, well, she's no spring chicken. She's 32. To me,
gosh.
that was insulting.
That was
I
hard
thought
to
that
hear.
was rude, and I thought that was kind of like being mean on her looks, and it was just, I felt like it was awkward and not appropriate.
I think, like, just talking about the fight in general to where it started that day, he does have an issue where he fights back in a vicious kind of manner. Like, he was very angry and hurt by what she did, but instead of being like, that hurt me, and like,
But he tried that. No, he tried that. I felt rejected.
Oh, he did? Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he did. He tried to say, I felt rejected. I'm not being received. I'm getting called names. Because she's like, oh, well, actually, he didn't know that in the moment. That was when they did the other shots. But he tried. What I will say, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is like this moment, because this is my one opportunity to actually take up for Heather. So, so there's one thing I noticed that I wanted to get your all's opinion on. She goes, I understand that he's more attracted to me than I am to him. And then she leads in with like, but he's not trying to go in slow. Now, I've never been in a situation where I'm having to shack up with somebody that I don't like. Even if I've liked someone, I don't barely have even gone on vacation with a boyfriend for 7 days. So in her defense, do you think the way that he came at her after the cave, do you think that the root cause of his anger was sexual aggression? The fact that the lifeguard, the hand, and the fact that they have not touched each other.
I think that could have been, and I do agree with you and her on that, because I remember her saying that now. And I don't think it is fair that he's coming at her that harshly when she's clearly trying to take this really slow, and she's trying to unravel what she's feeling. And we've seen her do that, and unfortunately it hasn't been in like the best manner. But I don't think that was fair for him to... I think it could be built up aggression on that. But
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he's really insecure about her feelings towards him, so he's kind of attacking her. And I think it's okay that he feels a little bit rejected, but I don't think being more vicious is going to help. I think he should kind of take it a step slower and just go at her pace that she's setting, because we know it's okay if one person is taking it slower than the other, and that you should kind of match each other.
Yes, and communicate that. And I think that, as you guys both mentioned before, he's trying. But he waits until a point where he then explodes. But he owned that. Like, he owned the fact that he did explode.
Yeah.
But she's stonewalling him. I mean, she's not even trying. Every time that he said, like, when he goes, I loved it when he, like, I loved Eric, and I loved it when he goes, I felt rejected. Vulnerability is power. The fact that he owned that and said, I felt rejected, and she just changed the subject and didn't even listen, like, that bothered me.
I think with their relationship and what I've seen so far is that I think there is a lot of rejection felt there. And so when his way to deal with it is that he's trying to fight back. And so he doesn't mean to say those mean things, but it's just his like defense mechanism. Like, he's starting to build that wall too, because he's like, well, if you feel this way about me, then I'm just going to tell you how I feel about you, but it might not necessarily be true. But it's just like, it's probably anger and feeling, that feeling of being rejected is very harsh, and it's very hard to feel that way because your mind starts doing weird things.
Definitely.
So I can only imagine.
Yeah, see, as part of me says that she doesn't like when people call her out, and Sarah agrees that she thinks that she's a catch for any guy. So I think this kind of shows she thinks she's an attractive person, and she wants sort of to feel like it too.
Yeah. CP is part of me. Good point. Hey there, buddy. I do. I think that she doesn't like to be called out. I'm going to bring that back for some reason, the family thing. I don't think she's used to having people point out her flaws because she's so used to her core group family. Now, granted, I know nothing about her family, but I think they're great. But I think that that is a big part of an individual that does not like to be called out. They've never had that veil lifted from their face. So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Really good point.
Definitely.
For sure.
We see Nick and Sonia open up again on the beach. And so it's this time Sonia is the one that's kind of bringing up the issues. And she brings up the pillow talk fight from the night before. And she says kind of like, were you offended by what I said? And really just puts it out on the table.
I loved that. We saw that at dinner, and then we also saw it that next morning, like in the beginning of the episode, which I thought was really good. The fact that they're both comfortable enough to bring it up again and articulate themselves and make sure that they're clear. There is no such thing when you start out as over communicating.
Yeah, and I think that they've done, like, the fact that they have built it up, I think is them, they want to justify to each other, like, hey, I'm not like that all the time. But they did talk about how I want to be able to do this with you. I want to be able to open up and tell you when I'm like shutting down because Sonia said, I do it with my friends and I don't want to do it with you. And that's really amazing. And I swear they cease to impress me every episode. I grow to love them more and more. They are so, I want to say perfect for each other. Just from what I've seen.
Okay, I can't talk about the clairvoyance stuff because some people on YouTube didn't like it, but I pulled their charts for them and sent them to Sonia. Like, I'm telling you right now, the fact you're correct. Everything, their soul path, their karmic path, everything, they are exactly where they're supposed to be, even down to being on air together right now.
Wow.
They are in alignment completely.
Yeah.
So what you see is real.
I love that Sonia asked if he was annoyed in that situation, and Nick said yes, but at the same time, I understood where you're coming from. And that was so big because it really shows that they understand each other and that they appreciate their differences and are willing to work and grow.
Yeah, so a part of me was like, oh, that comes with age. That's maturity. But then back to the point that you were saying about him throwing a jab at Heather because, oh, she's no spring chicken. Sonia's 33, Heather's 32. And then we have Lily, who's 24, right? They're all three acting at different ages. Do you think that their ability to do that has anything to do with age or experience?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't really know, honestly.
I feel like it could be their actual life experiences and how many relationships they've had, or maybe not even how many relationships, but just what they've been through in their life as far as their love and family things. Because I feel like Lillian is so mature for her age, but who am I to say what a 24-year-old should be like? So like, it just depends on the person. Versus Heather, I feel like she's 32, but I don't think that's bad in any way. Like Derek was saying. So I don't think it should matter that much.
Yeah. I think age was like a big highlight in this episode. And I disagree with myself because her being 32 and Sonia being 33 and looking at how they communicate differently is baffling to me. But Sonia says, I've been in love once. I lost myself. Nick said he's been in love 3 times. You know, so the fact that they have those experiences that small, which again, I love the fact that they haven't been in 1,000 relationships and they can communicate like that is great. It's so wonderful. It's great. They don't even need the pillow talk.
Sarah Smith said that she loves her ability to acknowledge that she's upset and that she needs a moment, and she communicates that instead of lashing out.
Yes.
Which I think that is like spot on, Sarah, because she's very good at being calm. Because I know when that, like, I feel like I would have been taken like she was taken off guard, but she was like, you know what? I'm going to collect my thoughts and I'm going to like think about this and I'm going to think about how I feel and why I feel this way. She's very, very
mindful.
Yeah.
And that's very smart because I feel like if you don't do that, you might explode more and make the situation all worse and like escalate the situation. But I feel like that's a smart thing to do. I should try and remember that.
Yeah, I honestly feel like society today, there's very few of us who do that take a step back, use our emotional intelligence to not lash out and actually think of the other person. Sonia does a phenomenal job at that. Like, she does an amazing job at that. I don't even think they need the pillow talk, even though they're the only ones that did it.
I think they're so cute when they do it though, because they're like Nick's like sitting there like, so what do you think of this? They're so, like I can say it again. Their banter, they're just so adorable together. I could like I can't wait to see how they live together and how things go, because
Definitely.
they're just impressing me day to day. I said it probably 1,000 times tonight.
At least we haven't said organic 1,000 times like we did last episode.
Yeah, thank you for whoever pointed that out. Definitely. Well, I love that Nick seemed to really appreciate Sonia's inner beauty when she talked about her favorite thing, about her work, and that was so sweet. It really shows that he really likes her for the outside and the inside, and I think he's such a great guy, and he seems so romantic and perfect for her.
Yeah, I think so too.
He always tells us, the confessional, and he tells the audience how he feels about her. And he states it perfectly and beautifully. And I think that's why I love them together so much, because he thinks the world of her in just such a short amount of time. And so if only he could express those emotions to her, which hopefully we'll probably see down the road. And he probably doesn't feel it's appropriate just right now in this moment. But I think that the way he's feeling and the way he's expressing those emotions to us, it's really great.
Definitely. I bet she wishes wishes she saw that in the moment
Yeah.
so she could get that verbal
She's like,
reassurance.
"Oh, honey."
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny that he can express himself and he can express those feelings for her. He just isn't saying it to her in person.
Yeah.
At least at that
But
moment.
they all, like they said, they're all taking it very slow, and they're all taking it, step by step, because they don't want to jump too far. And they've talked about, in particularly, their friendship and how they want to grow that friendship before they. I mean, obviously, even Sonia said we want to grow the friendship, and then obviously it doesn't mean that we're not romantic and I'm attracted to him and all that. But they want to build that foundation first.
So I feel like, I don't know if the Coach Rachel, only assigned pillow talk to them, because I feel like they do the pillow talk every time. Tom and Lillian, I don't think pillow talk was assigned to them. I'm not really sure.
They
we
have
never
a
see
different
them.
kind of pillow
Yeah,
talk.
I mean, I love their pillow talk. It's great, but I never see them do it. And then poor Derek and Heather, Heather was like, I'm done with no pillow talk for me tonight.
They basically skipped it and she just went to bed.
Yes.
But
yes.
I feel like they went to bed mad, which is something that Nick pointed out that a lot of people suggest not doing. You should work out your problems before you go to
never
sleep.
go to bed
But they
angry.
seem like they were angry, and then it probably is just going to escalate in the morning because you're sleeping mad, and it just isn't a good idea.
When did they talk with Pastor Calvin?
I want to say that was after the next day.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
then
they
they
woke up?
went. Because then they went to the pool, and then that's
Oh,
when
yeah,
he
it's
said
the
those
next
mean
morning.
things.
Okay, so it is the next morning. What
Yeah.
did you think about that?
I thought it was good. I felt like it was good that they were at least open to the conversation, but as the pastor pointed out, Heather was very closed off, but I don't think she was closed off to the possibility of it working out. I think she was just very upset, and so you could tell in her body language she's just so mad at him right now.
Yeah, Atomic 1107 is saying, she understands Heather's no picnic, but what he said was just horrible. I have to agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I even called him out for it on Twitter. I was like, that was a little much. I mean, again, me being, I think I'm the oldest one on the panel. Me being, like, again, that age and hearing, oh, she's no spring chicken, even though she's shut off, even though, again, it seems that everything she has done has not been open. He really, really hit below the belt.
Well, the thing is, though, those words can't be taken back. And no matter how angry you are, no matter how upset you are, no one deserves to hear words like that, especially about their appearance, especially about them as a person, because you can't change that. And the fact that he's saying those words that's a really big dig, and I just think that I really did like Derek, and I still do like Derek, but hearing those words from him was so demeaning that I just feel like even if she is being not receptive, he should be the one opening her up, and that's what she needs. She needs someone to be like, listen, Heather, I clearly am not the person that you want to be with right now, but I want to learn how to be that person. And he was saying that in the beginning with his family, but he let his emotions get the best of him, and he said something that was just kind of
disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was disgusting. But I don't really know. I agree with that 100%. But what I don't agree with is I don't think Heather's coachable. I mean, when Pastor Calvin called her out and said, like you said, the body language, you're closed off, everything that he said to her, she goes, but this, but that, and she wasn't receiving, which has been the problem the whole time. She's not receiving.
But I think that's what she needs, because he said, you're not supposed to be perfect for each other. You're supposed to be perfect for
the potential. We weren't
for
looking for the perfect mate. We were looking for the person that you had the most potential with.
Yeah, so I think that maybe if he would sit her down and let her know. I think she's closed off because she's worried. I don't know what she's worried about yet. I have no idea, but I feel like she's worried about something that's holding her back from really letting her real personality fly. So
I think Heather is coachable. I just think that she needs to like him a little bit more to kind of be more open to the situation, because right now she doesn't really like him. She doesn't find him that attractive. So she's kind of like pessimistic about the whole situation. But once the love starts to grow a little bit more, maybe she'll be more open to working on it. Mm-hmm. It's also funny because Derek said how beautiful she was the first impression. So he does think she's attractive.
And I think that was emotion.
Yeah. So I think he's just feeling insecure, and so he's taking it out on her. In a mean way.
She switched. She also said that she was attracted to him after the wedding, and then she saw him smoke. After she saw him smoke, her words were, if I was dating this guy, I would never date him again.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So I think she's been shut off. I think Derek has absolutely tried. Again, I think what he said was horrible, but I think that he has tried with her, and she is just shut off.
Yeah.
Period.
I think that's true. And like obviously what I'm saying is just based off of how I felt when he said those things. But it is true. They both were attracted to each other. They both did have an initial like a positive reaction, because remember we were so excited for the capabilities of what they could be.
Yeah,
And so
very true.
I think that maybe something is going to click in either one of them, and hopefully they won't give up soon.
It's also interesting because Heather seemed really upset that he didn't want to go to the rainforest with her. And to me, it seemed like she really has high expectations for the honeymoon, even to this point. She really wants it to be a great experience, but she just doesn't feel like he's receiving, and she doesn't feel like it's going well.
I don't even know if she's mindful enough to know if he's receiving or not.
Really?
It was too flip-floppy. She's too flip-floppy. She's in the morning she's fine, at night she's not. I mean, the only time that we saw her stay constant was when she was drinking. That's when she got comfortable.
Yeah, what did you guys make of that?
That she is comfortable, that she doesn't know who she is, and that she is most comfortable when she's loose after a couple glasses of wine, and that being on TV is way more intimidating for her than she thought it was going to be.
I wasn't sure if it was that, or I just thought it was the last chance to kind of make up for it. So I think she was kind of like, okay, let's drink and have fun and make the most of this honeymoon that we have one more night.
I think so too, Jamie. I really agree with that, because I think that she kind of, you know when you kind of get in a fight with someone and then you just kind of like, things just keep going in circles and circles and circles, and you're just like, I give up. I can't even like get my feelings out. I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore. So I think it was her chance to kind of like, in a way, brush it under the rug.
Decompress maybe by drinking?
And just be like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. We can't get our honeymoon back, so let's just make the most of tonight and let's just have fun, because we go back to reality soon.
Yeah.
I think she just wanted to have some fun, and maybe like she was like, you know what, like I'm gonna give it all I can, and it was just kind of like, and it was like oh whatever, let's try.
Yeah, Sarah Smith again is saying no self-awareness. She has no self-awareness, and being in an altered state. She's comfortable in an altered state. That is being hypocritical. Getting upset with him for smoking. But, okay, I have to say this. I know we spent so much time talking about them and being how they are, but I think that it's still so great with the anniversary fairy that came through with Sonic. I mean, that kind
That
of...
was so cute.
How can we forget the
I know, we
anniversary
just forget.
So
fairy?
romantic.
We were
That's
saving the
so
best for last.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like so adorable. Anniversary
That
fairy.
was great.
So how did the anniversary fairy treat you? She was like so great.
That's so cute. Yeah, they really had a strong dinner to end on, and so did Tom and Lillian. I really thought Tom was just going to drop the bus, though, again, because they talked about places. They're like, oh, I want to see your place. But then he could have said it there, but he didn't again.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Come on. Next episode, who wants some juicy gossip that I already know?
Is it going to spoil it for everyone, actually?
No,
or
I think people
is it...
want to know. I think it's obvious. People
Okay.
want to know, but
Okay.
I'll share. So obviously, Lillian in the episode said, but we can't move into my place. It's too far from your work.
Oh,
Da-da-da. What does that mean? We already know she's going to be living in the bus.
Oh,
The Cindy and the motor coach.
Well, also that just makes way better TV. Come on. I mean, because that
They've
way
been talking about the bus for 3 episodes
Yeah,
now, or
they
4
have,
episodes now.
They have to kind of see how they would actually live in that space together.
So I wonder if that means that it makes better TV also then if Sonia moves in with Nick because of the 2 doggies and her not liking that. Would that make
I
for
feel
better
like
TV?
that'll be a little thing, but then she'll get over it soon.
Yeah,
Or
I
not.
think Sonia is like, because even when she said that thing about the dogs, just seeing her personality now, I think she was very hesitant towards it at first, and now she's so into it that I think she's like, okay, I like the dogs. Like they have such great like chemistry and their banter. I just think that she'll be like, okay, I'll love your dogs.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna work out.
Definitely. So let's get into some predictions.
Ooh, all right.
Predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first because I always go first. I think that Heather and Derek are gonna get over something. I think that they maybe might pass some sort of barrier to where maybe they can become friends. Maybe they can kind of get towards this because they're not going anywhere. They are stuck for what is it, a month that they have to live together?
6 weeks.
Oh, 6 weeks. So they have 6 weeks to live together. So I think that they're gonna get to a point where they can at least appreciate each other's company. So hopefully we'll see that. And then for Tom and Lillian, I think we're going to be very shocked by her reaction. I think she's going to be very kind of in a way like disappointed, but understand where all those comments he was saying were coming from and appreciate him and be like, oh, well, if this is what you like, I think maybe we could do what we want to do, you know? And then for Nick and Sonia, I mean, I don't even know if I have any predictions at this point because I just like, they're so great. And I just feel like they're just going to end up together anyways. But for next episode, maybe they'll have another, like, not fight, but maybe another tiff they have to overcome. And then they're going to have more, it'll open up more communication and it'll pass them through another great barrier to lead them into success.
All right, I have one prediction. Tom and Lillian have been sharing so much that I think they're going to take their questions to the next level and get more like marriage type of questions. So maybe even dabble in like the kid poll questions. Who wants babies? Who wants babies now?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So serious.
So I think that they're going to take the curiosity to the next level, and I think that we're going to see some conflicts when it comes to babies.
All right.
Interesting. I think there will be some positive exchanges between Heather and Derek next episode. At least I hope so. I hope that they have something great happen so that they kind of move forward and, you know, be optimistic about the relationship. I think Tom and Lillian are going to fight about the bus because I think she's going to say, why didn't you tell me in that whole week we had together when you kept hinting at it? But I think hopefully she'll get over it eventually. And then great things between Nick and Sonia, of course.
Yeah, we love Sonic.
They're so great. You guys should definitely tell us which your favorite couple is, and if you have any predictions for next episode or just anything you want to tell us, because we want to hear it. You can tweet me at JamieBanks_, and where can they find you guys?
On Twitter at Heather Yerrid.
And I'm at AllieGirl__.
Also, shout out to Robert Cherlias, Lee Burns, whatever floats your boat, and everyone in the live chat. Thank you so much. We love hearing what you think, and we'll see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.